I like to keep it sweet and clean.
Hi, this is Terry Gillespie, and welcome to A2A with Terry. And I am so excited that you're here, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And welcome to any new viewers. Just love to see new people, and I hope you will subscribe and visit us more. So I am so excited about my featured author today. Carrie is a multi-award winning best-selling author and a very, very dear friend. And I'm so excited to catch up with her. I moved away, so we don't get to spend as much time together. So this is a special treat for me as well. So welcome, Carrie. There she
Hi.
is.
Yay. Hi, Terry, and hi, friends. I'm so glad to be here with you today. We're going to have a fun conversation. So I hope that you'll like it and give us some comments and even share it if you have that opportunity. So thanks for being with us.
Yes, thank you very much. So, Carrie, you are one busy lady. Not only are you uh, really a prolific writer, and you also mentor other authors, and you're a pastor's wife and a leader in women's ministry, and also a social media maven. So, how in the world do people keep in touch with such a busy lady?
Well, I love to stay in touch with readers and connect with them. So I would suggest people come by my website, which is just my name, Carrie Turansky. And when they come there, I have a blog that has the latest things happening, plus all my books, that kind of thing you can see there. And then I have a email newsletter that goes out every month, maybe a little more often around the release of a new book. And when people sign up for that, I offer them a free short story. So that's all available just on the homepage, and you'll find a way to direct around there. On social media, my two places where I like to hang out are Instagram and Facebook. So you'll find me there. And I do have a Carrie's Reading Friends group on Facebook where I post all the latest and invite people to be on launch teams and really get closely connected with readers there. So I'd welcome any readers to come and join me on Carrie's Reading Friends on Facebook too.
You know, that page you've had that page a long time, haven't you? Like,
Yeah, it's actually a group, so it's something you have to
yeah,
join. But I welcome anybody to come and join it. I've had it, yeah, probably for like 6 or 7 years. So I have a good group of readers on there who are consistently helping me spread the word about my books, and I try to share covers and characters and different interesting things on there that would make it special to be part of that group.
yeah. Well, your website popped up on the screen, and it's gone now. But
That's okay.
down in the description section, all of those great links are down below. So not only your website, but your social media and your readers page. That's all good. And how to order your books. So those are all down in the description section. Plus, there's also a link to our a little bit more in-depth interview on my website. So fear not.
Great.
It's all
Great.
down there. So, Carrie, your book. Gotta get it here. Always have.
Yay.
Yay. That is a gorgeous cover.
Isn't it lovely? Oh, I was so happy. And
Oh my gosh.
they let me have a little bit of input on it. When it was first shown to me, the area in the center was a piece of paper that looked like an old kind of a scroll like paper.
Uh-huh.
I thought, oh, it shows the history, but it doesn't really, it's kind of like a missed opportunity. So I said, could we make it the journal? Because the journal is what actually ties the two parts together. And so they liked that idea and they made it into the journal. So I thought, oh, that's perfect.
Oh, the journal. I mean, that's what got me is that,
Okay.
yeah, that's what really got me because I mean the model is beautiful, of course. All of your books, your models are absolutely gorgeous, but just the patina and just the age and the the feathering on the journal, just perfect, just absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
we readers like journals, right?
yes, we love journals. I mean, how many have we given each other over the years? So, well, we fill them and we need new ones. So as beautiful as this is, it's even better inside. The story is so great. It's the story of two women who are separated by 100 years, a century, yet they're connected with secrets and faith. And so this was your first dual timeline.
Yes,
How
that
did
was
you?
it was a challenge, but I talked to a few other authors, our dear friend Kathy Golke and Melanie Dobson, who also write dual time, and just kind of asked them like, how do you do this? What's your approach? And some people write it like from contemporary to historical back and forth kind of thing, but
Mhm.
I didn't think since I'm so new at it, I didn't think I could do it that way. So I wrote the full historical, then I wrote the full contemporary. Then I was in a panic because I knew I had to put them together. So I called Kathy and asked her, how do you do this? And she said, just start doing it. It'll be fine. So I did. I just started putting them together. And she was right. You just start going and they fit together perfectly. And then at the end, I wrote a final contemporary epilogue after I had seen it all come together. But I think the historical doing that first for me worked because I really
Yeah.
wanted to know what were the lessons, what were the themes, what was important for that historical heroine to learn. And then I would see how it could be reflected in the contemporary, and then you could fit it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember Kathy saying that that's what she did. She wrote, I think she started with the contemporary. I think she actually started with the contemporary first, but I could be wrong. But yeah, putting it together, well, with this sequel to the little middle grade book, um, I'm co-writing it. So
Yeah.
the other author's writing the historical. So she's writing all that, and I'm writing the contemporary. So it's going to be interesting when we have to put it together. I may be calling you as well.
Okay.
So
I'd be glad to listen in and encourage you on.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. So, and a lot of the themes that are in this book are are themes that we all deal with, like broken relationships and family dynamics,
Mhm.
and questioning our faith sometimes when really, really difficult things happen. So you approach that in such a wonderful way. Plus, you had mystery in there as well. So,
I know you like mysteries, so I put that in there
yes,
for you.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned in the top picks for August, I mean, I've already mentioned now is I love this book. Um, And I know that my viewers love it when authors read from their own books. And I read the first line, which was lovely, but really they rather hear from the authors. So could you read from your book for us?
Yeah, I would be glad to. I thought I would choose a scene that's a little bit into the story after our historical heroine, Charlotte, has arrived at the Lake District. And instead of going directly to Longdale Manor, where her grandfather is, because her mother and her grandfather are kind of had a separation. And so first they go to stay at a farm, this beautiful farm. And of course, she's been living in the city all of her life. And so this is her first night. She can't quite sleep. So she goes outside for a walk. So I thought I'd just read a little bit of that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. The moon shone bright, spreading silver light over the farmyard, fields, and mountains beyond. Past the barn, a small section of the lake shimmered in the moonlight. Millie said earlier it was called Derwentwater. That seems strange, but so many things were different here. She lifted her gaze and studied the glittering path of stars trailing across the sky. Was that the Milky Way? She'd never seen it so clearly before. In London, the cloudy skies and glow of city lights often hid all but the brightest stars. Tipping her head, she listened. Wind whispered in the trees, a few insects buzzed, and a lonely bird called. Such peaceful sounds. Nothing like the sounds of London at night, where she usually fell asleep to the rattle of carriage wheels over cobblestone streets, or a train whistle in the distance. She glanced at the long, low stone building to the right. Lantern light glowed in a few windows. Was that the barn where the lambs were born? At dinner, Ian, Millie, and Mr. Story had talked about the ewes, who were expecting to give birth soon, and the need to take turns checking on them throughout the night. Were they out there now? She considered looking in, but she decided against it. She knew nothing about sheep except that they produced wool that was spun and woven to make clothing. Her fingers slid over the shawl, feeling the soft weave of the wool fabric. Her mom had given her this shawl last Christmas, and she treasured the gift. It not only provided comforting warmth, it also reminded her of happier days. The barn door slid open and a lantern bobbed as Ian trudged up the path, his gaze on the ground, seemingly unaware of her. She pulled in a sharp breath. If she turned and hurried back to the house, he would see her and probably think she was strange for coming outside in the middle of the night. It would be better to wait for him and explain herself. Striding up the path, he came to a halt as he spotted her. "Charlotte, is everything all right?" "Yes, everything is fine. I just couldn't sleep. It's so quiet here." That was true, but her restless spirit was more to blame than keeping her awake than the quiet countryside. He gave a slow nod, silver moonlight reflected in his eyes. She glanced past his shoulder toward the barn. "Were some new lambs born tonight?" "Yes, 2 of the shearlings gave birth." "Shearlings?" "Those are first-time mothers. We like as many ewes as possible to lamb out in the fields, but we bring in the oldest, the shearlings, and those we suspect carry twins to keep an eye on them and help if needed." She liked the lilt of his voice and the way he spoke about caring for his sheep. "That's kind of you," she said.
Aww.
Just a little peek at what it's like.
Yeah. Well, you do such a good job of creating this sweet environment for the potential of romance. I've always admired you for that.
I like to keep it sweet and clean. Because I have high school. I mean, we homeschooled. And so my husband and I go to homeschool conferences sometimes, and I meet teenage readers. And so I always keep them in mind that my readers may be as young as 14 or 15, all the way up to 95. Because I have a lot of older readers also, but I want to write stories that, I could share with teenagers, and it would be encouraging for them, and they would see the sweet side of romance, and it wouldn't be too suggestive or anything.
Yeah, it's nice. It really is, because it can be that way. It doesn't have to be,
Yeah.
Hollywood. It can be, it can be just sweet. Just,
Yeah.
I like that. So, what are you working on next?
Oh, I just finished my next dual time story. I have to turn it in on Friday. So I was very grateful that the Lord gave me grace and I was able to finish before I went to St. Louis this last week, because I was out there for Story Fest, a readers event, and the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference. So I did finish it. I want to look over, because when I went to a workshop there, I got some new ideas for just a couple areas that I want to check on this afternoon and tomorrow before I turn it in. But it's set in London, and it's a little step back, a little farther. It's 1885 to 2023, the two time periods. And the focus is on the Foundling Museum and the Foundling Hospital. The Foundling Hospital was the first children's charity in England that took in abandoned and babies that the mothers couldn't care for. And when the women gave their babies over, a lot of them would leave a token, some kind of a little thing, could be a thimble, a coin, a fabric heart, a piece of jewelry. And these were used as identifiers. And in case the mother's situation changed and she could come back and claim her child, she could describe what she had left with the child. So anyway, the working title is called Love's Token. And it's about a little girl who is left there and her aunt and her mother and how they try to reclaim her. But when they go to reclaim her, they're told that she died as an infant. But then as the aunt leaves talking to the matron, she runs into an old cleaning woman who says, no, she didn't die. She was here until just a week ago. And she's not the first pretty little girl to disappear from the Foundling Hospital. And so the heroine teams up with a journalist who's also investigating missing girls from the poor areas in London and what's happened to them to try to search for the little girl who's missing, who's 8 years old. And I got the inspiration from a woman who had great faith called Josephine Butler, who was a real campaigner. And she's called the Saint of Prostitutes, actually, because she just had such a strong heart to help women and girls who were caught and trapped in, difficult situations. And so I put her in a couple scenes and used some of her speeches, that kind of thing. So that's the historical part. And the contemporary part is a young woman who has to step into the role as the director of the Foundling Museum, which is really a place that they have all the history there of the Foundling Hospital. And she teams up with a journalist. She teams up with a guy making a fundraising documentary for the museum. And he's looking into the history and he finds out about what happened back in 1885. And then they have to decide, are they going to reveal that? It looks bad for the history of the hospital has been hidden until then. And so that's kind of how it all comes together. So we'll see what they title it. I don't know. Well, I hope my editor likes it. I'm turning it in Friday. So
it sounds fascinating. I mean, it really does sound fascinating and really kind of pulls from headlines today with,
right. With that movie, Cry Freedom. So it does, it has the human trafficking element in 1885. And then a part I didn't mention, but I also bring that into the contemporary part too, with a teenage girl who's volunteering at the museum and getting targeted kind of. So it has that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Sounds good to me.
Thanks.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the A2A interview blog has a lot of fascinating information, and instructions on how to increase your chances of winning the giveaway, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Plus a delicious recipe for, is it Grasmere?
Yeah.
Grasmere gingerbread.
And Grasmere is a really pretty little village in the Lake District that when I was there, I visited, and people line up down the street to get into this little shop and buy this special gingerbread that's not like American gingerbread. It's kind of a mix of like chewy, sweet, spicy cake cookie combination. But anyway, I gave you the recipe for that.
Oh, and the picture you included, it just looks yummy. And I love gingerbread, and I love soft gingerbread. I really do. So I'll have you tried to make the recipe yet?
I haven't tried to make it yet, but I will, because we're having a little launch party here for the book in mid-September, and with local friends that live in my area. So I'm hoping I can fit in making some gingerbread and let them try it.
I miss those. I missed your launch parties. Yeah, they were fun. I remember our hats, wearing our hats, and so now one of the things I like to do in the video interviews is to ask a fun question or two. And so I asked Carrie if she had a superpower.
Well, I would say my superpower is creativity. because when I was a little girl, my mom was a very creative person. She was a quilter and a painter and a graphic artist. And she was also a writer and illustrator. And so from the time I was 4 years old, she put a paintbrush in my hand. I remember she outlined this little duck on the canvas and, put the green and the brown and paint on there and let me paint this little duck. And she just continued to encourage me to use creativity in different ways. So these days I do a little bit of painting with watercolor, but mainly I do like flower arranging. I've been able to do wedding flowers for 3 of my kids. I really had fun with that. And of course, decorating. I like decorating my home. That's always fun. And then cooking creative meals for people. And of course, writing is a part of the creativity too. So I'm grateful that my mom inspired me to tap into creativity and develop it. So that's my superpower.
Yeah, don't you think that that creativity is like something that comes from God? Because especially as writers, when we write a story, before we start, there are no words, and then there are words and there's a book. So
definitely. Yeah. I'm sure that's part of his gift. And then we work and develop it.
yeah. That always makes me feel good. And by the way, I've had the opportunity to enjoy a lot of Carrie's creative gifts, not just the books. So the food and I've enjoyed all the pictures of your flowers and things like that.
Thanks.
So, you're welcome. So on that note, this month's A2A giveaway is from both Carrie and Bethany House publishers. And Bethany House has generously, it's going to look a lot nicer than this because this is an advanced reader's copy. But Bethany House will provide this Carrie's most recent book, and then Carrie has also offered something else for the giveaway.
Yeah, I have a special journal that I would love to give you. And then since the Bethany House is going to be mailing you the book, I will send you a signed book plate. And then we have just a couple other fun little things like a bookmark and a postcard and a sticker. So I'll include those when I send the journal along. So I can't wait to see who's the winner.
Yeah, little Tweety pulls the winner, and Tweety is very discerning.
Yeah.
So, how many viewers would like to get not only Carrie's latest book and all the sweet little trinkets and this beautiful journal? I know I would. So, and if you're looking for opportunities to increase your entries, go to the blog interview and I'll give you some little hints on how to get the maximum entries, which is 6. So that really does increase your chances of winning this great giveaway. But basically it boils down to comment, like, and share and subscribe. So it's pretty simple. But now the drawing will be held Friday, September 15th. And oh, by the way, if you're already a subscriber to my YouTube channel and to my newsletter, as long as you comment on the blog and the this YouTube program, then you get all those extra entries. So,
Ooh, that's good.
yay. Now, one caveat, and that is only entries in the contiguous US. So I'm sorry, Alaska and Hawaii. You used to live in Hawaii, didn't you?
I did. I lived on Oahu for 8 years.
That's a long time. That's like you really lived there.
Yep, we did.
So, Miss Carrie, do you have any final words for our viewers?
I would just, well, I want to say thank you. I just really appreciate readers and uh, taking time to read books and to leave reviews. That's just so helpful for us and helping
Yes.
us spread the word. And thank you to Terri for inviting me. It's always a joy to talk to her. And I'm just grateful that, we can spend a little time together this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks for watching the 33rd interview episode. And one last reminder that all those great links are down below in the description section. And as always, just a reminder that Carrie and I on social media, we love those likes, subscribes, shares, and follows. So it really does mean a lot. And we really do enjoy keeping in touch with our readers.
Yep.
So next month is the A2A episode will feature best-selling and award-winning author TAMERA Alexander. So looking forward to getting to know her. I've never met her before. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. She seems like a really lovely woman. So
yes, very, very nice.
Yeah.
And a great author. Wonderful book.
Yeah. Very good. So, Carrie, thanks so much for being such a great guest. And viewers, thanks so much for stopping by. And I'll look forward to seeing you next month. And in the meantime, God bless and keep reading.